Jesus was so good at that. So we want to begin to be the light. There's this beautiful lesson from A Course in Miracles is I am the light of the world. So your commitment to really be that light, to be as Jesus walked, that commitment to wanting to see your brothers and sisters in their truth, wanting to see your brothers and sisters in that happiness and that joy. And when you're going to be reactive, or when you mess it up, or when you don't forgive, or when in Spanish, se dice que metes la pata, it's like you messed up, or you didn't do it well, or you didn't do your Course in Miracles well, or, you're not so spiritual right now, or, you're overeating, or you're binging, or whatever it is. The most important part in living the Course and really living this type of lifestyle is to be very graceful with yourself, be very loving, very compassionate. When, there's something about allowing yourself to be a hot mess. There's something about really just feeling your feelings, and not judging yourself for it. I mean, there was so many times. I mean, I could say just even one of when we bought our home here. And I think I shared this before in Naples. And I got so obsessive with wanting my home to look like a model home in like a month that I moved in. And I was like getting obsessive about everything being beautiful and being perfect, and having my office set up. And, I have a Murphy bed here in this office because it's also a guest room that we use to not lose a room. And it's like, I was just so obsessive. And I remember sitting on the couch and just overthinking things, and not remotely even enjoying my home because my ego had a hook on me. My egoic thought system was, you have to do this and you have to do that, and this is not ready and that is not ready. I mean, it's just like mundane things, like the stupidest little thing of like just overthinking in my mind and obsessing about my home. And I remember having this moment of allowing myself to just be that sadness, or to be, and I was feeling also a little bit, even though it's a beautiful home, and we moved to a bigger space, and we're such in a beautiful place and a beautiful community. It was change for me. And I was starting to feel sad of the place that we left and the apartment that we had, even though we were renting, and then we bought this house. But it's for the good. But have you guys ever been like, something is for the good and the change is for the good, but it doesn't feel good? or you're double thinking it, or you're like, you wish it could be different. So there was this non-acceptance. Again, this is applying the Course in action. Okay, so that's why I'm sharing this story. It was like overthinking. My ego was like, oh, you moved from Lago, you were so much closer to town, and this and that, and all this like narrative. And the ego is just enveloping my mind of that, right? So at that moment, there's this allowing. The ego likes to have private thoughts, but also the ego doesn't like to be exposed. The ego wants you to just to kind of deny it and not want to feel it. It likes that, because then you just get more grievances, more judgment. So you allow yourself to be a hot mess. I allow myself to be obsessive. I allow myself to cry. I allow myself to be lonely. I just allow myself to be in my cuckoo head in that couch for as long as I had to. And I think it lasted for, a few days. Not that I stayed on the couch, but just like this interesting feeling. Also, my husband had left for Thailand for a month, like right when we moved into this house. So I was by myself in the house with my son. There was so many dynamics. But I remember sitting on that couch, and this is something that's important for everyone here. Fighting my mind. First, it was allowing, because the ego needs to be exposed, guys. The ego needs to be exposed. It doesn't like it, but you want to expose it. Expose it with your feelings. Expose it with allowing yourself to be a hot mess. Oh my God, I'm a hot mess. Let me just allow myself to dwell in this. It's like the crucifixion. Allow yourself to be crucified for 3 days, but then remember, you want to resurrect. Right? You want to give yourself that resurrection. So I was like, oh my gosh. I talked to Spirit, and Spirit said, why don't you go ahead and write down everything that you've done from January 1st, which is when we closed on the house, to March 1st that we moved into the house, because I gave myself 2 months to move into the house since we had time with our rental. So sometimes, everyone, we have to do things in form to feel better. So what I did is I got a journal and I wrote down everything that I had done for those few months. And the list was incredible. One of the things being able to negotiate getting closing costs for this home, which was unheard of and very hard to do. got that. I was able to buy most of the furniture for the house. I was able to get the contractor to do certain things with the floors. I was able to get the blinds up. We were able to make the dining room table. I was able to launch my a coaching group thing at that time. I was able to launch another class at that time. I was able to get my son into, registering for summer camp. Help my husband to get ready for his trip. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. I mean, it didn't stop of how many things I had done, how many things I had gotten accomplished. What happens is that when we are not grateful, when we are in the cuckoo mind, when we are obsessive or just focused on one thing, it's impossible to see all the blessings. It's impossible to see how incredibly courageous you are, how much you move forward in life, how much you have this dedication to love in your life, dedication to your life, because you can't see it because you're focused on the little piece of caca. Right? That's what I was focused on, that little piece of caca, a little piece of shit. And when I saw the list, I started laughing. Because then I said, oh my God, Maria, you are beating yourself up because your house is technically not ready or not to your liking, or you don't live in closer to town. And you're completely forgetting how incredibly resilient you are. How you've showed up for your family throughout this time, how you've been able to move effectively, how you've been able to do this and able to do that. And that doesn't even matter, because ultimately I don't even need to compare that, because if I am in Course in Miracles mind, that doesn't even matter, because I am worthy just because I am a daughter of my Father. I am the daughter of God. My Father is God. So even with that, I am worthy of the blessing of grace and gratitude, right? So the only way that I'm able to experience that gratitude and blessing, because of all that I couldn't see it. And then after that, I started to look at my home in a different way, and I started to enjoy it more. And then there was not so much of a rush, because if I finish the project so quickly, I won't have any more projects to do. Did I stop being obsessive? I can't say that I'm still not even obsessive. I feel like I still look at things around there and I'm like, that's crooked, or maybe I need to move this Jesus this way, or maybe that way, or maybe this book needs to be like that. I can't say I don't do that, because it's just my nature. I love things to look beautiful and to look very organized. But I have found some forgiveness there, have found that joy within my home, even hiring an interior designer for some of my upstairs work that I'm doing. But the whole point I'm saying that story is because, as you can see, life is going to be life. And we're going to lose our minds every once in a while for the littlest, stupidest things. But the Course in Miracles says, if you don't have peace of mind, that's enough for you to practice forgiveness. When I got everything on paper, everything opened up for me, family. And I was able to see how I self-sabotage myself. I was able to see how we have all-out wars on ourselves, that we can't be grateful because we graduated from this and that. We can't be grateful because we've done this incredible job here. We can't be grateful because we're thinking in a very limited vision with the ego that has us hooked on what we've done, what we're doing wrong, or what is not working, or waiting for happiness to happen at some future moment. Okay, so we want to be vigilant, integrating the teachings in the Course in Miracles in our daily life. We want to be vigilant. We want to be vigilant of the way we're feeling. We want to be vigilant when we're falling into the illusion, and also open to allowing that cuckoo-ness to come in, but at the same time having that dedication to wanting to snap out of it. That dedication and that big freaking willingness to want to wake up to your Father. But also comes no manipulation and not needing to control, right? Not manipulating, not controlling. We have this thing that we want to replace God, or we think we can do it better than God by believing we need certain things outside to accommodate themselves so we can be happy. But I always say, you never know where you're being saved from. Right? You don't know why is it that you live where you live. You don't know why is it that things work out, or a job finishes for a certain reason, or a relationship finishes for a certain reason, or a diet is a certain way right now, or the way you're working out is a certain reason right now. We just don't know. It's like being a kid filled with wonder. It's the first couple lessons of the Course. I don't know what anything means. right? And I only see the past in what I'm seeing now. So we want to become more innocent, like more filled with wonder, more allowing Spirit to show us the way, allowing Holy Spirit to show us the way. So that is the Course in Miracles in action in a very practical sense if you're sitting in your couch and wallowing in some sort of misery. And these teachings can go as deep as when you get bad news from the doctor. This could go as deep as, going through a divorce. This could go as deep as, not having money in the bank, losing a job. If you want to stop to be arrogant and pretend that you know it all and want to stop playing God, that is love. That is true love. It's like really trusting, oh my God, this is over because it's supposed to be over. Good. Welcome it. Next. That is truth. That is love. That's living in the harmony of spirit. That's trusting life. That's trusting the flow of life. And then you begin to experience so much freedom. But that takes something. It takes that willingness, right?